to an exclusive on Pod Hub Network. Your city, your podcast.
To the delight of this crowd, McClendon marches down the dugout steps with first base.
McCutcheon's throw. The runner breaks to the plate. Here's the throw. Wow. He is out. The Buccos win.
That ball's hit well to left center field. Back toward the track. And that ball is gone.
You are listening to the North Shore 9 podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, make sure to watch NS9 Live every Thursday on Twitch and help support by becoming a patron. Let's go Bucks!
Yo, welcome to Starbucks on a Tuesday. I am Anthony DiNardo. With me, as always, Jim Rosati. Jim, welcome to this beautiful Tuesday morning. As I guess we should let everyone know officially on the podcast and stream, Starbucks is now officially changed to Tuesday mornings at 7. So, hola.
Yeah. Good morning. And as you mentioned last night, pretty big deal.
It's huge. Everyone,
it's a huge deal.
Your schedules, adjust your time. Make sure you're
breaking
prepared.
News.
It is
breaking news.
Almost as breaking as Phillip Evans becoming the Rookie of the Year.
/ MVP.
/ Cy Young.
You could win all three.
It's a clean sweep. Silver Slugger on both positions, obviously.
Multiple positions. I mean, he's played like 4 different positions, I think.
Right. I'm going to make myself sound stupid, I feel like, on this, because he's clearly been in the league before. Does Shohei Ohtani, can he qualify for the Silver Slugger at the pitching position? I never thought about that till now.
My guess is that you qualify for the position that you played the most at.
So
if he didn't pitch more than, say, he DHs, he's probably not eligible to be, because that would be like if you had someone who played both shortstop and second base, right?
Right.
I think whatever position he played more at is the one you would qualify for. That would be my guess.
And that totally makes sense. And that's why he would not have qualified his rookie year, obviously.
That wouldn't be fair for pitcher. Well, I guess there is no American League pitcher Silver Slugger either.
Oh, yeah. There you go. And there it is.
There you go. Now, if he were in the National League, I don't know.
I guess it would fall under
that would be interesting, because if he were a full-time starting pitcher in the National League, would he qualify for the Silver Slugger at both? I don't know.
Because I think, like you're saying, he still would have more time. Well, true, because he's a DH.
Right.
But theoretically, okay, so if he played right field, he'd probably have more time in right field, so he'd be qualified under right fielder and not a pitcher. All right. Well, sorry then. There's one award that we figure Phillip Evans can't win, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh, that sucks.
Don't think he'd be eligible.
But anyways, I guess moving forward. So, I don't know. Any updates to anything in your life? Shaving that beard yet?
Anything in my life? I'm super sore now. So, with COVID, right? I stopped doing CrossFit during COVID because I was like, well, I'm not going to drive to the place and wear a mask while I'm doing all this stuff. So I just stopped doing it.
That's why I stopped.
And
right. Exactly why I stopped.
And I restarted it back up yesterday. So I'm super sore. Super sore today. But
cool.
Yeah, I figured, you know what? Vaccine's rolling out. I quarantine wasn't good on my fitness regimen. So Let's get back at it.
I need to do something here as well. But I doubt that'll happen. So I'll live vicariously through you. We're sore today. We worked out yesterday. Both of us.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So I guess with that said, let's get into the show here. I I mean, in this season, we got to find positives, right? It's going to be a thing. We got to find positives. So one thing I think we can start off by saying that's positive, which I think both of us do typically enjoy to troll the Cubs a bit. The Pirates have won 3 games on this season, all 3 coming at the Cubs' expense. The Cubs can't beat the Pirates. Say it. It is what it is. The Cubs suck. You were right, Jim. Tyler, I think Tyler did, and I both took the over on the Cubs this year. I said the pitching's it's not good. We know it's not good, but the lineup's still formidable. It's good enough, and as an overall team, they're still solid. They'll get through. Their lineup looks awful. It's worse than the Pirates. It's way worse than the Pirates. At a point in time, their batting average was worse than the average pitcher. And I know it's small sample. I get it. Again, anytime we get to troll the Cubs, you get to troll the Cubs. But the Pirates took 2 of 3 of the series this weekend. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Cubs are. Yeah, the offense is definitely an issue. Now, I do think eventually, we'll see them wake up a little bit. I saw a tweet last night. Somebody was like, "The Cubs are playing runs or lava." Like that. But I think they lost again last night too.
To the Brewers.
They lost to the Brewers. Yeah, 6-3. 6-3. But yeah, no, I think that team's in trouble. Like, I don't know, just looking around the rest of the division, I think everybody else is better than they are. And you saw the difference between like the Reds and the Cubs, right? I mean, the Reds just beat the brains out of the ball. And the Cubs just couldn't do anything against the Pirates pitchers.
And that's a lot.
Right. But no, I think they're in trouble. Yeah. I mean, when I said that I didn't like them, I meant it. I don't think they're that great of a team, and I don't think they're going to fare very well. And what was the crazy stat? The Pirates have won like 8 series over the last almost like 2 years. Like, not necessarily 2 years, but like close to 2 years. And 3 of the 8 have come against the Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs, I mean, their fall has come pretty hard from them. I mean, as viewed one time as a really, really good team and like this dynasty in the making. I don't think this dynasty lasted as long as many Cubs fan had hoped for. And if we're talking about over under, I mean, obviously with the Pirates, they weren't pretty good this year. I thought they'd be better than expected, which they're not showing that yet. But I thought they'd be better than expected, and of course the trade deadline would come and they would go ahead and purge some people, and therefore the wins totals would drop a little bit to normalize. And I feel like with the Cubs, I mean they might be going and trading at this deadline as well. And when you got Chris Bryant, Rizzo, I mean you got these guys, Baez, that are on their last year their deals. I mean they might be gone too, and that's how they hit their under and look pretty bad this year. But I guess let's pivot this back to the Pirates in itself. So the first game wasn't too good, but of course, Saturday came, and I think the highlight of this is Saturday, of this Cubs series. The highlight is definitely Saturday. Mitch Keller gets his start. Short season. I get it. You and I discussed about Mitch Keller. There seems to be some issues. What's going on? A lot of it seems as if it's confidence. Like he's just afraid to pitch to these guys. He has his stuff, but he's timid. He's afraid. The body language, everything out there. And you came out here and said, what, Jim?
He needed a win.
He just needs to win. Just win, baby. And the Cubs come to town, and Mitch Keller goes out there and wins. Now, of course, with much help to the bats in the lineup, they got out to a pretty big commanding lead early on, which I felt, because it's the first batter he walked on 4 or 5 pitches, didn't he?
Yeah, he started off with a walk. And then from then on out, though, he looked great.
Right. So that's what I want to allude to. Because, the very first batter up, and I tweeted, I was like, looks like the same old Mitch Keller. Here we go again. But the Pirates did him some justice. They gave him a pretty commanding lead, and it seemed as if, like he got to settle down. He looked really, really good that game. The big thing that stood out to me, obviously the stats and overall, but he had 14 swing and misses. It's again, like, we know he has the stuff. The thing is he used it. You know, he attacked batters. The stuff still played. They couldn't hit him. And he looked actually really, really good that game. So a big positive for Mitch Keller we got going on, right?
Yeah, no, it was awesome to see. I think you hit the nail on the head there. What was great to see, and we mentioned it. You know, we talked about Keller for a while last week, but we talked about a couple things, and one of them was, hey, you've got the stuff. You just need to attack hitters, right? And he wasn't doing that before, whereas now, you saw on Saturday, he was around the strike zone. He was getting swings and misses big time with that high fastball. I mean, he was peppering hitters with that fastball at the top of the zone, and they couldn't even touch it. Like, that fastball was just, it was working. It was working. I'm trying to pull up like a StatCast thing with him, but I'm having a little trouble. StatCast changed their scoreboards and stuff this year, but
yes, that's been bothering the hell out of me. As the game's
it's,
live and stuff, I'm like, I can't find what I want to see. Where is
I'm
it?
like, what's going on here? But no, like, he looked good. I mean, the curveball, he was throwing for strikes. The fastball, like I said, up in the zone, was getting the swings and misses, and he was pumping it. Like, he was 96, 97 on that fastball up in the zone, and players just weren't able to touch it. I mean, he was locked in. And like I said, that's what I meant when we talked about, you know, attacking hitters, is, you know, go after them. You've got the stuff. You're better than they are. Like, that's what you need to do. You need to be better than they are, and just let that stuff beat them. And he did it. He did it on Saturday. He looked great. It was even though, like, he's had good starts in the past. Like, I feel like that was his first start where he truly just, I mean, he dominated people, right? For a few, he dominated. He had, what, 7 strikeouts in the 5 innings, I want to say. Like, he looked real good, and yeah, hopefully, like I said, as I mentioned before, he just needed, like, that one outing. He needed that one outing where he pitched well, got his confidence back, got the win, won the game for his team, and hopefully that turns into something where he can be a little bit more consistent with that.
Right. And, you know, I was with you last week, and, you know, I didn't expect it to happen, like, right away. You know, I wasn't assuming, like, all right, Mitch Keller's listening to DiNardo and Jim here, and he's like, I got to just go ahead and attack hitters and get a win. And the Pirates are like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. And they go out there on Saturday and do it. But it happened, you know, like, everything that we talked about literally happened in front of our eyes. And that's one game. So where does he go from here? Now, obviously, he's got a pretty big challenge ahead of him. It's the San Diego Padres. I don't know if we're expecting a second win from him as well. But, I mean, I know we've trolled the Cubs, and the numbers show us right now that the Cubs lineup has been really, really bad this year, right? But in theory, and let's get in, like, Mitch's head, it's still the Cubs lineup. Like, he still went out there and faced Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, you know, Wilson Contreras. Still, I mean, those are still some dudes, you know, and he went out there and he dominated them. So I can only imagine that's probably, like you said, it's feel-good moments. You know, I went out there and I did it against these guys. And like you said, like, that's kind of what he needed. Maybe now he is go ahead into San Diego, which is it's a whole nother beast of a lineup, though. But it's like, if he can go into San Diego and say, you know what, I did it against these guys, I can do it. You know, I attacked these guys and I had, like you said, 7 strikeouts, 14 whiffs. I mean, they weren't touching my stuff. Let's go out there and attack Hosmer. Let's go out there and attack Machado. You know, let's see what I can do. I think that's, to me, like, this next start really means something, you know? So where does he go from here? He finally did it. Where does he go from here? Does he go against the San Diego Padres and clinch up again and, you know, try to work all around and nibble because he's afraid to line up? Or does he go out there and say, you know what, I'm Mitch Keller. Screw you, Eric Hosmer. I'm going to strike you out and do it. You know, much again to we made this comparison. It's like Oviedo. I mean, he looks the part out there. Now the results didn't come last night. That stinks. I'm okay with it. He's a young pitcher. This isn't so much an Oviedo segment, but he still looked like I'm going to challenge you. And, I want to attack the hitters, and that's what he does. And it's like, I wish we would get more of that in Mitch Keller. So, his next start against San Diego, challenge these guys, make them hit you.
No, exactly. I think that's the next step for Keller is, hey, he's now seen some success, and now can he replicate it? Yeah, his start on, I believe he starts Wednesday, the last game of the series. Wait, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I think he starts Thursday. He starts Thursday, so that will be interesting. So we'll have something to talk about. So NS9 Live right after that game, it'll be. Hopefully, we've got a good Keller start to talk about.
Right, and so the good thing, right? I guess the positive in this, which works out for him, is so he does go up against and face Chris Paddack. Chris Paddack hasn't looked the same Chris Paddack as 2019 Chris Paddack. So it's like maybe the Pirates can once again jump out into a lead for the Pirates. Hopefully, right? And kind of settles Keller down and can do the same thing. So yeah, if there's a positive in that sense, we can say in a tribute to the Pirates will face Chris Paddack, who hasn't looked really good yet. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're kind of facing the weakest link there.
Yeah, again, it's
it's still
Chris
good.
Paddack, so this bad Chris Paddack is still better than pretty much anything the Pirates have in their rotation right now. But
I'm not really ready to say Chris Paddack is a bust by any means. But yeah, his first two starts haven't been amazing.
Right. Again, it's the weakest link. Again, there's one positive out of 4 games. Mitch Keller goes up and has the best matchup of the 4, so that could help. And hey, I mean, the Pirates were doing it last night to a degree against Yu Darvish. They were getting some hits. They just weren't really capitalizing too much.
Yeah, no, that they got on base and stuff. Yeah, but Darvish was able to
do Darvish things
to take care of it. Yeah,
he took care of it.
I saw somebody was like, the Pirates made Darvish look good last night. It's like, well, Darvish is pretty good.
Probably because maybe Chris Darvish, maybe Yu Darvish is pretty good. He only had like a 1.98 ERA last year, even though it was small sample.
He was pretty good. And so with Darvish, I mentioned it. How about last night too? Darvish pitched well, obviously, but Trevor Cahill looked good last night. 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 run. He was basically matching Darvish inning for inning until they pulled Cahill. And I'm guessing they pulled Cahill. He was at 82 pitches. He only made 1, maybe 2 spring training appearances. So I don't know necessarily how stretched out he is.
Right.
It may not have even been 2.
I mean, I think
one of them was only like an inning. Yeah. So I wonder. I mean, because he was on a roll. He looked good last night. Way better than that Cincinnati start. I mean, it was just night and day. But no, Cahill, that was nice to see yesterday too. Because again, Cahill and Anderson, those are 2 guys where we don't need them necessarily to light the world on fire. But if they can put some games like this together and pitch into the 6th inning, right, and just help save that bullpen, because I said the bullpen I feel like is just they're being worked a lot right now.
Yes,
and when the bullpen gets worked a lot, you don't even really know. Your good relievers start becoming mediocre relievers, and your mediocre relievers start becoming bad relievers. Those pitchers are in the bullpen for a reason, and it's because they can't throw multiple innings, right? So, yeah, the starters have done a good job. They did a good job in the Chicago series of going deeper, right? So we need to kind of keep that up. Those starting pitchers need to at least go 5 innings. And obviously, if they can pitch 6 or into the 7th, that would be ideal. I don't think we've gotten anybody into the 7th quite yet. But we did get our first first few into the 6th inning.
So it was before my birthday. So that's good.
Yes.
Before my birthday.
Yeah, it was actually relatively quick. I didn't think it was going to be this quick. So hopefully the starting pitchers can continue to go a little bit deeper into games. And that way we don't need to be using these relievers too much.
Sure. But honestly, yeah, it's a good point. Like, let's get into Cahill. And for all the pitchers, I mean, we all know in baseball in general, there's a ramp-up period. We're still in the early parts, but Cahill probably more to extreme because, he was signed that night that we were supposed to have Alex Stump on, when you didn't make it, and we had some technical issues, and then it was like, well, never mind, because Cahill was just signed. I got to write an article. Yeah, I think, like you said, it was 1, maybe 2. I don't even think there was 2 starts in spring. So he's still ramping up to a degree. But something I want to bring up here. So Cahill had a terrible, terrible outing in Cincinnati. He comes out here against the Padres. Again, the Padres. And has, honestly, I'm going to say like a magnificent start. For Trevor Cahill, like you said, he was brought in here basically to eat innings. We're not expecting him to come in here to truly be like a guy that you can flip at the deadline because he's pitching well. Like just get us innings. We need innings. Get us by so that way we can, go into 2022 healthy. And he comes out here and does this last night. So this isn't so much, I guess, like, is Trevor Cahill an ace type thing? This is more, so let's point this and pivot this to Cody Ponce has been on the IL. The Pirates announced that they're stretching him out. I think in like his last simulation or whatever, like he pitched 3 innings, something like that or whatnot. So they're trying to stretch him out. So when Cody Ponce comes back to this team, okay, I assume when they're talking about they're stretching him out, they want him back as a starter. What does this mean for the rotation? Now, here's why this question is so weird. Because it's not like this rotation is good. It's not like you have this problem, Jim. We don't have this problem. We have so many good arms and who gets booted. But let's be realistically for the Pirates' point of view. Who gets booted from this rotation, or what's going to happen when Ponce comes back? Because guess what? Chad Cole was the opening day starter. Now, I know Chad Cole hasn't looked good, but I mean, to be the opening day starter and then like by 3 starts, you're taking out of the rotation, right. It's pretty harsh. We know Cahill and Anderson are in here to eat innings. Both of them pretty much been promised like starting roles. Brubaker pitched a hell of a game as well. If we want to talk about that Cubs outing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about Brubaker here in a bit. Yeah,
there's Mitch Keller. So if Ponce is coming back and being stretched out as a starter, is there an odd man out?
I don't think so. I could see a couple things happening. I could see a 6-man rotation, right? Yeah. I could also see maybe, like I said, they do that piggyback situation where maybe they just plan on Cool and Ponce piggybacking each other. I kind of like when you're doing the piggyback though to do like a right and left like that. I feel like that Brault Cool piggyback is almost like a perfect scenario. They're 2 totally different pitchers. They come from different sides. I just think that's a good match. But I could see them maybe trying that as well. Because I think at this point, you've got to remember about the innings, right? So they, in the NBA, they talk about, workload management or whatever it is, right? That's what they're going to have to do with this pitching staff this year. Because you're not going to tell Mitch Keller to go out there and throw 170 innings this year, right? So how are you going to figure out a way to make sure that he doesn't do that? Because if Keller goes out there 32 times, he's going to throw 150, 160, 170 innings, right? So you got to figure out a way to either make someone like Mitch Keller only start 21 or 22 games, or you limit Keller in his starts so that he's only going 4 innings or so. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they manage this pitching staff. I don't know what they're going to do. There was some talk in spring training about a potential 6-man rotation.
Right.
There was some talk about potential piggybacking. So we saw that they've done the piggybacking in the past. I feel like we're going to see that at least at some point here, especially when Brault. I mean, once Brault comes back, then that's another guy, right? So I think we'll see that eventually here. I think we could see some some 6-man rotation type stuff going on. Maybe not at the beginning of the year, maybe towards the middle or the end. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Ponce is just going to be a long guy, where if a pitcher doesn't make it into the 5th inning and they come out in the 3rd or 4th, then you have Ponce coming in for like 3 innings. So I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do. It could be a little bit of all of those things. It could be one of those things. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, that's the thing. I'm not totally sure either because, and again, it's not because someone just out there dominating, but I don't feel like anyone's lost the role to be in the rotation in that degree so far yet. And again, like you said about innings, like there's a reason that Cahill and Anderson are here. To put them in the bullpen kind of counteracts those reasons. Like, you didn't sign Cahill to this deal to get 40 innings out of him. You signed him to this deal to get 150 out of him. So to put him in the bullpen doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And same with Anderson. So it seems like those guys are safe by default to a degree, unless they just absolutely pitch their ass out of that rotation. So I can get it too. Like you did mention they've talked about a potential 6-man rotation. So that makes sense. I mean, that limits starts by starters. That's a way you can preserve your rotation, but that doesn't really help out your bullpen too much if they're still all going 5 innings. So that helps or hurts the bullpen. A piggyback, like you mentioned, that can help. Cole's a first one that stood out to my mind as well. Why does it go back to Cole, I guess, right? But so if there's Cole there, then what does is that helps Cole, that helps Ponce's arms, saves the bullpen a bit. Like, that's almost like one of their days off. If they both can go 8 innings, you need one guy out there to pitch that day in the bullpen for the most part. And you're good. So that can save the bullpen. And like you said, then Brault comes back. Maybe it's a 6-man with a piggyback in there. Maybe we have, like, in a sense, 7 starters, right? Maybe it's Cole and Brault piggybacking, and we have, Ponce in there as the 6th starter, and you save both ends. You save a little bit of rotation and the bullpen there. The good thing is they have options, I guess, right? It's going to be one of those things maybe where it does just work out. I'm sure not everyone's going to be healthy also by the time Brault comes back. Maybe someone's injured. But yeah, those are definitely options I see. But I just want to put out there too, like, for the people that are saying, like, get rid of Cahill or Innocent, I think they're almost locked for this rotation through the end of the season. Like, almost regardless of their performance, unless it, like I said, it's just pathetic, they're almost going to be a lock. I feel like it's always going to be at the expense of, like, a Cole, a Brault, a Brubaker, such. But you said we'll talk about Brubaker. Let's talk about him. He did the damn thing as well. And that was on Sunday, right? Sunday and he shut down the Cubs lineup.
Yeah. So right after Keller's start, Brubaker came back and went 1-on-1 with Trevor Williams, right? So it was a little interesting because I think Brubaker basically, yeah, it was. I think I made the comparison, like, one, they have the exact same arsenal of pitches, right? They both throw the exact same pitches, and they both look like pirates. So I was like, these two are the same guy. I was like, Brubaker has a little bit better stuff than Williams, and if you look at his fastball is probably about 2 to 3 miles an hour faster. Everything seems to be a little bit sharper on Brubaker's side than Williams, but they're pretty similar pitchers. They're not necessarily, neither one of them is going to, like, be overpowering by any means, but they're going to rely on their command and all that. So I think Brubaker did a great job on Sunday of mixing in his pitches. I think when I was looking at his chart, there wasn't really one pitch that he threw more than the other. He basically, like, had a split across the board. He was really mixing his pitches well.
Yes.
Everything was working for him. I would have liked to actually have seen him go maybe another inning. But I also get, hey, he's had some success, let's go ahead and get him out. I wanted to see him finish that 6th inning, but I understand that decision.
And just right now, because you brought that up, I totally agree. And it's almost like the Mitch Keller thing too. It's you got them to this point where you can get them out of the game with confidence. They pitched well. Like, I would like to as well, but it's still early. You don't have to. Like, don't let them go out there on a bad note. Like, don't let him leave like, oh, damn it. I could have had a great start, but now I just gave up 3 runs, even though we still got the win or whatever. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of felt with this too. Like, sure, I would like to, but I think more importantly, they left this game with really, really good confidence and with a really good taste in their mouth.
Yeah, no, I mean, he looked great. He was, soft contact. It's not like he was striking out everybody, but he did strike out. I mean, I think he was striking out Baez like crazy, but Baez was striking out like crazy all over the place. But I think Baez also hit ball into the bushes, so he did that.
He left something up. What was it? A changeup, I think, pretty high.
It was a slider, like right down the middle of the plate. Yeah, that was not good. But really, ever since that, I think that was in the first inning. He left that in there, and then same thing as Keller. Kind of gave up that run in the first inning, and then after that, yeah, it was all good to go. That may have been a second inning home run, but it was early. But again, same with Keller too. The offense got him some runs early, got him a lead, so that allowed him to maybe pitch with a little bit more conviction, attack hitters a little bit more, because that was the other thing I noticed with Brubaker too, is he was around the zone. He wasn't walking people. He had 1 walk in 5 1/3 innings. So yeah, he was attacking people, letting his stuff play, and he was inducing weak contact.
For sure. And you're right. So to go to his pitches, he did mix it all up. I mean, his slider he threw 20 times, his fastball 20 times, his sinker 18, then mixing the curveball at 9, change up 7 times. And even like every pitch was almost like equally effective too. It wasn't like one pitch stood out. Like his slider was just looking remarkable today. It's like all this stuff looked good. And he induced 12 swing and misses. So like we talked about with Mitch Keller as well, like Brubaker doesn't have the Keller stuff by any means. I do like his stuff. It is better than, of course, Trevor Williams. But it looked like it was really encouraging. He looked like he belonged up to it. Was again like the Cubs lineup that he shut down. He made Baez look so silly. And then Wilson Contreras a little bit there. Wilson Contreras had a bad game that game.
Contreras had a rough series. I feel like Contreras, I don't know if he did anything the whole series.
He did some things, maybe not so positive things.
My favorite part about Sunday, was Contreras, Greg Brown, the entire game after Contreras got hit by that pitch, and then just like walked to first with his bat in his hand, just all upset. Greg Brown was just like taking these little digs at Contreras the rest of the game. It was cracking me up.
I know. Seriously. I mean, Greg Brown's troll game that game was pretty elite in that sense.
Like but the interference at second. Yeah. Oh, he earned it. Yeah. The interference at second. I just remember Greg Brown was like, oh, and now Contreras, Contreras has got to be really upset now. Like that was the first words out of his mouth. It was funny.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
Right.
I always enjoy beating the Cubs. Like if this team's going to be bad, which, I think we all know that they are going to be pretty bad. Hey, let's beat the Cubs at least.
It's these moments that we have that, Pirates fans can cherish, right? We're so terrible, and yet the Cubs couldn't beat us.
Right. That was like the whole thing of the weekend. It's like, God, how bad are the Cubs?
Right. And then Wilmer Defoe goes yard, right? Send out those memes, Wilmer kids. Defoe. You lost to Wilmer Defoe.
You just got defoed.
Yes, we can enjoy all those moments. But back to Brubaker, he looked really effective. I mean, that was definitely encouraging. I felt as if anyone in the rotation that would make the move to the bullpen, it would be Brubaker. I feel, although same as Cole, I feel Cole can be a really good reliever. I feel Brubaker's probably destined to be a reliever in the future. But I mean, after this start, he shows he belongs in the rotation. So let's keep that going. But definitely very encouraging stuff from JT Brubaker that start. Oh, and I mean, if we were going to talk about Silver Sluggers, JT Brubaker. Yeah. I mean, the guy doesn't miss. He's just all he does is strike out guys and hit some RBIs.
That double was beautiful. Like fastball, he slapped it the other way, right on the chalk. Oh man, it was great. Yeah, no, he helped himself out. He had that 2-run double, and then I think his next at bat he had a fielder's choice that scored a run.
Yeah,
so,
it was
yeah.
weak, and actually it was a really good play by Sogard. Wasn't that the play where it
was
just
like
like
where
kind of
Sogard,
bounced
like,
over one and he
tried.
just caught it right at the base to tag out the guy
Well,
running?
Sogard was actually like flipped it between his legs. I don't know how effective it was, but that was what he was trying to do. He was trying to flip the ball through his legs to Baez. So it ended up working. But yeah, no, it was a really nice play.
Yeah.
I thought everybody was going to be safe for a second there, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an infield single. But they were able to get the one out.
Right. But he drove in the run. He had 3 RBIs that game. I mean,
3 RBIs,
JT
more
Brubaker
than
does
Stallings.
Everything. More than Stallings. And I think he said that at the post game, right? Or someone, he's like, I want to bring it up.
I think Stallings was like, he's got more RBIs than me now.
All right. So then I guess let's more wrap the show up a little bit here. We talked about Keller. We talked about Brubaker. The talk of not just Pittsburgh, but the talk of MLB right now. I mean, we got national writers that are honing in on this. As we all knew, the rookie of the year was going to be the Pirates' third baseman, right? But obviously, we weren't talking about Ke'Bryan Hayes. I mean, we're over Ke'Bryan Hayes, right? Done. Like I think you put out there a little bit ago, which is more than true now. I mean, we're on the path of it's time to trade Hayes because we already have our third baseman in the future. It's Thrillips Evans. Thrillips Evans is out there dominating everyone, and he showed it some more last night in this Cubs series. He's a beast. He's an animal. Thrillips Evans is here to stay. MVP, Rookie of the Year. Also, as we mentioned, Cy Young Award. Unfortunately, not Silver Slugger for the pitcher, but it is what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he's crushing the ball. You can't ask for a better start. We saw him, I think for like 9 games last year, 10 games, and he looked
11.
Really good. And then we had that unfortunate accident that he was out for the year. But like this year, yeah, right. This year, he's just doing the same thing again. Like he's picked up right where he left off. I'm starting to even think now that like there was never like Phillip Evans was never really competing for a spot on this roster. Like, geez, he's one of the best players on this team. And it's just, yesterday, I think, the rest of baseball kind of started taking note, right? So it started, Mike Petriello, started it off in the morning. He was like, fill in the blank. Here's the leaders in hard hit rate per swing. And then he listed, it was like Aaron Judge, Byron Buxton, who's just going off this year, Manny Machado, Ronald Acuna, and then who's better than all of them? And it was Phillip Evans, leads the major leagues in hard hit rate per swing. So that's crazy, right? And I mean, I know we're still talking about an extremely small sample size, but
of course,
he looks good up. He looks good up there. Like he's got a good approach. He's not swinging at pitches out of the zone. It's not like he's just feasting on fastballs. I think I brought this up yesterday too. Like what Eric Gonzalez last year when we were kind of gushing over him and like,
Eric Tatis Sr.
He's basically Tatis, right? He was doing it against fastballs, right? Pitchers were throwing him fastballs and he was mashing them. And then once pitchers figured out, hey, maybe we just throw this guy some breaking balls, Eric Gonzalez, we saw what he did. He fell off a pretty steep cliff. But like Phillip Evans, it's not just fastballs. Yeah, he's hitting fastballs, but he's hitting breaking balls. He's hitting off speed pitches. Like he's hitting everything right now, and he's hitting everything hard. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, he's just one of those guys. I mean, he's just a late bloomer. You brought up the Garrett Jones comparison, and I like that comparison. Obviously right-handed hitter instead of left-handed hitter, but somebody who just never really got the chance in other organizations comes over here, starts being productive. Like I'm starting more and more to think that Phillip Evans like could be a productive major leaguer for the next 4 or 5 years. Like I'm starting to think that,
Right. So like the one thing I want to get on here and say a couple of things. For one, this just kind of goes out to everyone out there. We get small sample size. I understand the small sample size. It's not our fault that there's only been 10 games played this season, right? We have to talk about these 10 games. But the thing is, in those games, what Phillip Evans has done, like you mentioned, you are correct. Like he has looked the part, he has looked good. It's all been small sample. I mean, we talked about last year, it was just 11 games. But those 11 games, he looked like the best player out there, and he did. But now we're here over to this year, and I know it's still just 9 games. But in those 9 games, he's looked like the best player out there. Like, and even with the Mets, it's all been small sample. He played 19 games, 15 games, then 11 with the Pirates last year, 9 this year. And pretty much all those samples, he's looked good. And we add the sum of the samples, right? The sum of all the parts. He's given us a stat line of 141 plate appearances, 320 batting average, 397 on base, like a 139 WRC plus, and over a WAR. In 20 games, he's given us 1.1 WAR for the Pirates. No, I don't think Phillip Evans is an 8 WAR player, right? No, I don't think Phillip Evans is going to be out there competing for the batting title with a 320 batting average and such. But what I can say is I have been impressed with what we've seen so far. And for a guy who got, I'm not saying personally him, but it was like, he got like swept under the rug and indirectly was being discussed about because how is there no Todd Frazier on the team? Because really it's coming down to like Phillip Evans or Todd Frazier, So when all the talk is how can you not have Todd Frazier, it was kind of a slight to Phillip Evans because Todd Frazier should be here instead of him. And Phillip Evans come out here and just shows that he's going to bat 406, have 3 home runs in 9 games. Oh, okay. We need Todd Frazier, right? So I get it. Like for a guy who you've kind of assumed like, it's 11 games. He's not going to be good. He's old. He's not in this future. So far, all he's shown is he belongs in this lineup every single day. And to me, he's earned it. I want to see it. I'm not out here to stamp it yet that Phillip Evans is going to be this everyday major leaguer for the rest of his career and be a good player. But what I am going to say is he's earned the ability to show me that he's not. Until he's out there and he's amassed 300 plate appearances or more, and he just looks lost to the plate and is awful, then I can say, you know what? The Phillip Evans experiment, the Thrillips Evans ride was fun, but it's over and I can move on. But he hasn't proved it yet. And I'm with you, Jim. Like there was something about Phillip Evans thinking about this. And I'm like, you know what? We've already talked, this whole offseason we've talked about who's going to be in this next run when the Pirates are good at it again and not, and Phillip Evans wasn't. I mean, he's older, he's been this guy that just hangs around, but he's never done stuck anywhere. He's not giving me this next thing. And I was like, you know what? Is he maybe that next Garrett Jones? As you brought up, like Garrett Jones was with the Twins, never stuck. Now, the thing about Garrett Jones, though, is at least he did have like productive numbers. Now, albeit he was in AAA for a while, but he had productive numbers. Phillip Evans, like, never really like sustained.
If you look at like success. Evans's AA season, right? I feel like that's kind of when he broke out per se as a prospect. He was a little older, right? He was 24, but 23 in AA, but he mashed AA pitching.
Yes.
And then in AAA, it didn't necessarily translate into great AAA numbers, but he was always a good hitter in AAA. Like he was never a bad hitter in AAA. I think this is a guy who can at least be a league average hitter, right? Like I really think that. And I mean, you even look at Zip's projections and things like that. Zips thinks he's a league average hitter, right? I mean, that's pretty much what they've got him at. And when you combine that with his versatility, and then you combine that with, maybe he outperforms those projections a little bit, then you've got yourself a pretty good player.
You're absolutely right. In that sense. And that's what I allude to. Like when you compare Garrett Jones to him, and this isn't me coming out here saying like Phillip Evans is Garrett Jones. They're different hitters. They're completely different hitters. What I'm alluding to is like you mentioned, like they both were just lost. I mean, they both made like this little small appearance, and then were in AAA for a whole like almost entire year, and then came to the Pirates and found success. Now, Garrett Jones' rookie season was, I mean, crazy. It was 82 games he played, 21 home runs, like 2.7 WAR, 82 games. I mean, he's basically on pace like a 5 WAR season. That rookie season was really incredible. Now, afterwards, it was never as good as it was, but he found himself to at least be a part of this team through 2013. He found that he could be part of this wave. And it's like, what if Phillip Evans, we're not going to say, and he's going to be like this 5 WAR player. He's not going to be like a 3-4 WAR player. But like, what if he can be an average guy? Like, what if he can be someone who can stick around? Not to the degree, like I said, Garrett Jones. Like Garrett Jones is like penciled in as our everyday first baseman and played right field. Like he was a focal part of this team, was he needed to be. Never really got to that level. But like, what if Phillip Evans can almost be like the Jay Hay role, like the Sean Rodriguez role, where he has that versatility. Now, unlike those guys were there for the defense for the most part, especially at first, Phillip Evans could maybe be there for the bat, and because his versatility gets in there every day. I kind of look at this like, what if Phillip Evans could show that he can be a productive player, and because of versatility, you find ways to get his bat into the lineup every day, albeit spelling Moran or whoever the future first baseman is, spelling Hayes, spelling some guys in right, left field, and such. And obviously, I'm sure by next year, the year after, a DH role. So maybe he does have a role in this future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm every day that passes, I'm starting to think more and more like, hey, Evans could be a long-term player on this roster. Like he's 28, yeah, but I mean the Pirates technically have control of him until he's like 34, right?
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, you don't have to worry about any contract with him,
Right. You don't have to worry about that. Like this, I think and I said the versatility makes him super valuable, right? Because there's not going to be too many guys out there who can play as many positions as he is. And let's say he is only a league average hitter, right? There aren't too many guys who are league average hitters who can play 4 or 5 positions.
There's not, yeah. Like every team doesn't have a league average batter or more on all their positions. So if you're looking for a guy who's going to be league average, like on the bench and give you that, I mean, that's a benefit. That versatility that's why there was such value in a Sean Rodriguez, even though his bat, and again, early on, I mean, he showed that 1 year, and even Jay Hay early on, even though their bats weren't there at all, the fact that they could play everywhere, and their value came in defense though. Like their defense was also good, but Evans isn't at that level. But the point is, you had one guy that could play everywhere. You didn't have to carry all these bench guys. Like a Todd Frazier. Like if you had Todd Frazier here, he can play one position. So if I can have Phillip Evans who can do that, plus go ahead and give me all these other positions, I find value in that because I don't have to find other ways to get other people's bats on the bench or whatever. I can get more creative in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm all about the hype train about Phillip Evans, but I'm still not ready to say, like, I'm not ready to do it yet, but I've liked everything. I'm ready for him to prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an incredibly small sample size. Yes. We're talking about 76 total plate appearances with the Pirates.
Right.
76. Right. That's not a lot. So,
and that's why also, like, to point to Garrett Jones, like, think about that. Even Garrett Jones gave us a whole half season and had 2.7 WAR. He was outstanding. Over the rest of his career, it really, this next season had negative 0.2 WAR. 1 WAR, 1.6, then negative 0.1, 0.3, negative 0.5. So it was like, even after Garrett Jones's 299 plate appearances that rookie season, he never equated to the same type of player. But he was at least a useful player.
A lot of that had to do with his defense too. Like his defense really hurt him from like a WAR standpoint.
True.
I mean,
but even offensively, like the next year, 95 would runs created plus, 109, 124. So that's something like he was, he didn't hurt the team, but he was never at that level again. And again, it comes to sample size. Like Phillip Evans could also have a really good year this year, and then just be like a role player in the future, just what he carves out to be. But that's more than I think any of us were expecting by any means.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like I think, and it's unfortunate that it took Hayes getting hurt, and now he's seeing that everyday playing time, right? But he's now gotten to the point where once Hayes comes back, like you've got to find a spot for Phillip Evans in the roster every day in the lineup.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked a little bit about on Thursday, and I think now it's settled. Thursday, because at that point it was like 5 games still. I mean, it's still like 9 games is still extremely small sample, but still like this team is awful. At 5 games, the question I think right now at this point, like it's solidified. He is in this lineup. You just have to find ways, and those ways can be at the expense of Colin Moran, who also has looked good, by the way. Colin Moran has had a very good start to his season. Third base is there. Cabrine's pretty much going to lock that up, but okay. So 1 day out of the month, he gets a day off. That's Evans.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the possibility where you can play left field. You can give Reynolds a day off. You can slide Reynolds to center field, and get his bat in there. You got days off for Polanco, as you mentioned. Anytime he's facing lefties, just get Polanco out there, put Evans in. I guess because of his bat, I'm going to bring this up. We haven't seen it yet, but does Evans now see time at second base? Is that real potential? Maybe is he forcing his way to try out second base? Because again, also we talked about how versatile he plays, and if there's like a role carved out for him, it's probably due to that. Like, does he just almost get forced into learning and playing second base again? So that way you can get his bat into a lineup different ways.
I mean, it may be something they try. I still don't know. I think there's enough on this team though to make it so that he doesn't have to do that, right? I think between off days for Reynolds, off days for Polanco, off days for center fielders, off days for Moran, off days for Hayes, right? Those are 5 positions basically that he can spell. I think there's enough off days to go around that you don't have to add another one in there. Because again, he hasn't played second base since 2019 in AAA. And it's not like he did it a lot. He played 15 games in AAA at second base. So I tend to think that they're gonna not do that. It could happen, but I think there's enough opportunities out there for him not to have to play second base.
So you're trying to say he also should get awarded days off too? That's not right.
Yeah, because the other thing too. I mean, you can give Evans an off day every other week or so. Yeah. No, I think that I don't think you have to play him at second base. Could it happen? Yeah, but I don't think we're to the point where that has to happen yet.
Fair enough. And I can go both ways on this. I would like to see it, because also like if there's going to be a year where you find out if he can still play second, it's this year.
True.
Right? Maybe it happens more if Adam Frazier is eventually traded, but you are also correct. Like there is enough ways you can definitely get his bat into this lineup without having to be second base.
Especially right field and center field. Like those are 2 positions right now where, I mean, obviously Evans won't play center, but if Fowler and Alford aren't performing, then you can just bump Reynolds over to center and Evans can play left. So, I think there's plenty of opportunities to get him into the lineup.
I like it. So Thrillips Evans, your everyday player for the rest of this year, right?
Exactly.
Okay. That's not us saying he's going to be a good player, but I think he's an everyday player now. I mean, it just says more of this team, but he's earned it, and I'm ready to see it. Give me more Thrillips. All right,
2
Jim.
more hits last night.
Yes. So with that said, anything else that you want to touch on? Wrap up here.
I think that's good. The 3-7 Pirates take on the 8-3 Padres tonight. See if they can. I'd like to see them take 1 game this series.
Well,
seeing Musgrove, we won't talk before that, but Musgrove starts tomorrow. So Musgrove will come back right after the no-hitter. See if he can do 2 in a row maybe. But I'm sure the Pirates will do something for Musgrove as far as they did something for Trevor Williams on Sunday, so they'll do something for Musgrove tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm anxiously waiting that game, and I mean obviously we know Mitch Keller is going to beat Chris Paddock, so that's the one game we're hoping for 2.
That's true.
There's gonna be another game they sneak out somewhere. So maybe
I hope there's like I know it's not going to be crazy because it's a Wednesday evening game in April, but if it can be like a somewhat decent crowd, like I don't know, I feel like Musgrove deserves a standing ovation.
I almost feel because of course all the circumstances, like that's the game that people are going to. It's not because they want to see Joe Musgrove, which many do. I mean, many will be there because Joe's back and they get to see him. But I feel there's going to be definitely the Yinzer crowd that's going to be out there I'm going to get to see a no-hitter against the Pirates tonight. So go Joe Musgrove, right? It's more cynical in the sense that I'm going to watch the Pirates get no hit tonight. Let me get out there and see.
There will probably be a few of those in the crowd.
Oh, I'm sure. And then there's going to be some wooers out there, and I hate you all.
Yeah, the wooers. The wooers are back. That was the best part about empty stadiums was no wooers.
Yes. I half jokingly said that. I was like, we need to ban the fans again. As much as, it was a weird season last year, and it stunk and had its moments where it was bad. I realized I was thankful for that. There were no wooers there. So that was good. So baseball's back. Fans are back. Good. Wooers are also back. Sucks. All right, I guess we'll end on that note. So we'll see you again later. I'll be back tomorrow actually on Denardo's Dugout. So we're all switching. Denardo's Dugout will be Wednesdays now. Starbucks again is on Tuesdays. And then we'll be back on NS9 Live after the Thursday night game, after Mitch Keller gets his win. His no-hitter. All right. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.